All right, everyone. Welcome to all of our guests. Welcome, class. It is great to have you all with us today. I mentioned in my email that this is one of my favorite events, and the reason why it's one of my favorites is because of the person that I'm about to introduce. So, Dr. Jessica Murphy is our Dean of Undergraduate Education here at UT Dallas, and she has joined us to speak with you all today for our Dean's Town Hall. Now, on a personal note, I just want to say that we all find Dean Murphy to be incredibly inspiring. As someone who is a first generation student herself, she can relate very much so to our educational journey as she'll share some of the things that she experienced in her educational journey. And finally, I just love to describe Dean Murphy as a real one. Like everyone in the audience and watching this knows what that means. It's just that just means that she is very, very relatable and approachable, and she has a passion for helping students. And I personally am very appreciative of her time and effort for everyone here. So, without further ado, I would love to turn it over to Dr. Jessica Murphy, our Dean of Undergraduate Education. Hello, Dean Murphy.
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me today. It's a pleasure to kind of meet you all here in this virtual environment. I appreciate your time on a Friday, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you over the course of this semester and your career here, which will be fabulous at UT Dallas. So, as Derek said, and no pressure with that introduction, I'm Jessica Murphy. I'm the Dean of Undergraduate Education. And you'll notice me occasionally looking to the side because I had to make notes. I love talking to students so much that I sometimes go off on a tangent. So the notes help keep me kind of tethered to Earth. So I would like to start by telling you a bit about what that means to be the Dean of Undergraduate Education. So I have responsibility for the policies in the catalog. And the reason why I want to start out with that piece is that in my own experience, which I'll talk about in a minute, one of the first things I learned as a big lesson was that any world I was entering into was governed by a set of rules. And higher education has such rules, and they govern the way that you interact with your classes, with other people on campus, and all of this. And all of those rules can be found in the catalog. So I'm giving you a secret because often students come to the catalog to look up policies and stuff very late in their career. So check it out. It's online. It's just catalog.utdallas.edu. But we'll talk a little bit about how you might need some navigation help through that. So I have responsibility for the catalog. We have student programs to enrich the student experience. We focus on a few areas in Office of Undergraduate Education. Retention, so we would like to keep you here. Persistence and growth, we'd like to help you develop academically over the course of your career here. Data analysis, so that we can use data to find out if there are ways that we can help you. We collaborate with offices all across campus and to help learn more about what student needs are. Academic support and personal support. So those are our kind of 5 key areas. I am also a professor of literature, so I teach primarily early modern English literature. I came to that kind of late, and I'm going to use that to transition into talking a little bit about my undergraduate college experience. I started out college, let's see, I went to Scripps College in California. Scripps College is a small liberal arts college, very expensive. I had to try to work a bunch of jobs to be there. I think when I started, maybe I was a biology major, and then I took on psychology as well as a double major. I went through a lot of of different majors. By the time I finished college, it was Hunter College in New York, and my major was philosophy. And I took an English class, I think it was in my last year, and I loved it. And I found that the analytical principles I had learned through my science education and my philosophy education could actually be applied to literature. So I came to that a little bit late, but it did also help me because knowing great books turns out to give you some social capital. So as I was kind of growing and going to graduate school and making those choices, it was good that I had found English literature because it helped kind of build my confidence. So I am the first person in my immediate family to complete a higher education degree. I did complete my bachelor's degree after 7 years and three institutions. I did learn some lessons along the way, including that by the third institution, the main lesson I had learned was that I needed to engage in something in the campus. I needed to have peers that I worked with who I felt connected to, or I needed to feel connected to the institution somehow in order for me to succeed academically. And that's one of the great things about this living learning community and the larger first generation programs where you can connect with students all throughout campus and staff members and faculty and administrators, just everyone there who would like to connect with you and you connect with them. That made a huge difference. So by the time I graduated from Hunter, I still feel a very strong affiliation for Hunter, which was the institution where I did finally kind of take that step to make those connections and where I was most successful. Um, but I like to think of my experience, and again, this is only in retrospect. So I'm hoping in me looking back on my experience, I can give you something to take forward for yours. I like to think of it in terms of challenges and then also the strengths that I brought. So I want to start with the strengths. Um, I had had jobs outside of the home. I had had multiple jobs by the time I went to college. So I was very self sufficient. I was not self supporting in that way. I was very much on financial aid and I had all of that, but I knew how to kind of show up for things on time, how to clean up after myself. I was just talking to somebody the other day about my freshman roommate in college. She had a maid at home and had never had to feed herself or do laundry or clean up after herself at all. And she really struggled in that first year. That first year was very hard for her. So at the time, I remember feeling maybe a little bit like, man, I'm really behind because I didn't have a maid, and you know, I can't, I can't say that my daddy just keeps reloading my credit card or whatever it was that she was going through. But looking back on it, I actually see that now as an asset because I did not, I mean, I struggled in different ways because I ended up leaving that college, but I did not struggle in the ways she did, right? I could take care of myself. I didn't fit in at that college. That was a different issue, right? So there's just these things that at the time you might not see them as your assets, but they are. So I would like you to, whatever your strengths are, to kind of think about what are some of the things I have learned about life that some of my peers might not know, because they will also benefit from hearing from you. So that roommate, for example, I did teach her how to do her laundry. I taught her how to cook some stuff. I taught her how to not buy spoiled food. These little things, and they can become really, really big things. So just remember those assets are really crucial. Learning how to balance multiple responsibilities at the same time was also one of the strengths that I had when I was first year in college. And you're not always going to do it perfectly and you're not always going to pick correctly. Learning how to prioritize multiple responsibilities, that's a different skill that some of you may already have. I did not have yet. And that took me years to really develop in the way that helped me be successful in my schooling. Some of the challenges that I had. I felt like everybody knew stuff I didn't know. Um, so I was struggling in my first year of college. I took an archaeology class. It was a junior level archaeology class. I will admit to you, it is because I totally loved Indiana Jones. So I'm just going to be open with you. And when Melissa McCarthy was in that movie where her daughter was in college, I can't remember the name of it. And she was like, yeah, archaeology is so cool. I totally identified with Melissa McCarthy. So yes, I was like, I'm going to take this archaeology class. I got into it. It was fine. I was struggling in that class. I think I was pulling like a C- or a C or something. And I didn't know you could drop a class. I didn't know that was an option. We did not have professional academic advisors. I didn't have anybody I could ask about that. So I just kept beating my head against the wall of this class that was far too advanced for me in a subject that really wasn't, I wasn't ready for yet. In spite of watching all the Indiana Jones movies, which it turned out did not prepare me for that class. So I felt like there were secret rules because I learned that you could drop a class, of course, after that semester. Um, there were all these secret rules that I didn't really know. So that is a challenge. When you don't have, um, generations back in your family who have gone through this and they say, oh, well, just drop it. Oh, can you do and then they use some kind of specialized word. You don't always know what's there for you. So that's where you want to make sure that you're asking these questions, right? So your LLC support, they are there. We are here. Derek is here. Everyone's here to help you be as successful as you can be. And not knowing the secret language is not a deficit. That's just, we just have to do some translating. And that helps us be better. So please just ask those questions like, what is Census Day? I'm still not totally sure I can answer that. It's the counting day. It's the day when we take stock of who's enrolled in our classes. And another challenge that I had was financial difficulty. So one of the things that we had done is we looked at the financial aid package that we were given, and we could make it to the penny. I had work study. I was able to pay, the immediate bills for work study, but there were costs just of living. And I was out of state, so I'm from New York originally, and I lived in California for my first year of college. There were costs that I could not cover because I didn't expect that to come up, a workbook that I had to buy, or a DVD that I couldn't get, or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't a DVD. It was a VHS tape at the time that I couldn't get a hold of. So I do also want to encourage you to, if there are surprises like that, reach out and see if we provide those, because often a campus will provide them. We do provide loaner laptops and we do provide loaner webcams. The library has a lot of books and it can get books that it doesn't have. So again, that encouragement to ask questions. So I've already pointed out that one of the things that I did differently at Hunter College was to connect to the school. And I would say the importance of engagement to your academic and your social success here is really making sure that you take steps to stick. This is a reciprocal relationship. So we are here for you and we are going to do everything we can to connect with you. And you've got to then also connect with us. That for me was crucial to talking back to my imposter syndrome. So that's how I would put that, where I was like, no, be quiet. I'm not an imposter. Look, I belong here, right? So helping yourself belong. And your academic advisor is a very good friend of yours. So that's that's another thing that I would emphasize. Make sure that you are visiting your academic advisor when you have questions about what you should register for. Don't try to figure it out on your own. If you have a question about what class you should take next, ask your advisor. So we are here for you. LLC is here for you. And please reach out if there's anything that you'd like more information about, need help with, are curious about, anything. So Derek, you said I would have time to take questions. Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, I'm ready.
Does anyone have any questions for Dean Murphy? Fire away in the chat.
Oh, Mary Jane, thank you. Okay, so actually I'm going to say something real quick, if that's okay, Derek.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so can we unmute ourselves?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
okay? Yes.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Please.
You go first, Giselle.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I've been having a question about dropping classes, and you brought it up. Um, so I've been handling my classes very well, but I've realized there's like a lot of workload, and I just want to like keep myself strong and like continue my strong work ethic. So I was wondering, how do you know if you should drop a class or if you shouldn't drop a class?
hmm So this is such a very good question. So first of all, I want to pick up on the theme of what you just said about your very strong work ethic, which I very much believe is part of your experience, and I believe that about you. And everyone around you believes that about you. So I just want to make sure that you are aware of that, because I know, at least for me, and again, I'm only talking from my own experience and students I've spoken to, um, that part of the imposter syndrome also brings with it a sense that no one else will know that I really do have a strong work ethic. They're going to think I don't care. So I just want to assure you, we do not think you don't care, even if you are struggling to kind of make it all fit together. There is no perfect moment, though, when you know that you should definitely drop a class. There are some steps that I advise you take. So the first one would be to talk to your instructor, see if there's something that they can suggest in terms of success in the class. If they say, I just don't know, you can't catch up, let's say, if you've missed some work. I'm not saying you have, but let's say that's what's happened. Um, then your next step would be to talk to your academic advisor. How would this affect me? Now, this is crucial. How would dropping this class right now affect me in my degree plan 2 years from now or next year? Because it can throw you off track so much that you kind of end up having to maybe take a class over the summer or do something like that to make up for it. So you just want to make sure that you're talking to all the right people and you're asking those questions before you take action. And I would say don't drop at the first moment you think about it. Ask for advice, because sometimes, at least for me, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can, I really want to be awesome and I don't know if I can handle this workload. But then after the first few weeks, I totally could have made it, and I wouldn't want to see you regretting your choice to drop.
Thank you. That helped out so much.
Awesome.
All right. Anyone else have any questions?
Can I share my one thought about when you have a chance to ask questions? Is that okay if I do that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I know this environment where we're virtual is very weird, and you kind of are like, I don't know. But when you are faced with someone like me, right? So someone who works at the university, and I sit in a bazillion other meetings with a bazillion other people. I report directly to the provost, who is in charge of all things academic. Um, you want to ask me questions because you want me to take those questions other places if I don't have the answer, because that makes quick and big change. So I just kind of want to make sure that I'm not putting pressure on you to ask me a question right now. But when you're in these situations and Derek says, hey, do you have any questions for, maybe Dr. Fitch or maybe Dr. Benson one day or something like that? Yes, you have questions.
While they are contemplating that brilliant nugget, I do want to ask you about just going back a little bit about imposter syndrome. I'm someone who also suffered from it. I am also someone who did not know that they could drop a class until the last minute. I shared that story with the class last time, but what did it look like? Like, how did it manifest for you when you were in college? Oh, but now Joanne has asked. She says, I'm not sure if you know the answer to this, but how do refunds work after a scholarship is put in or implemented? And then maybe we can go back to the imposter syndrome one. But Joanne first.
Okay, so I actually don't know the answer to that, but they should. I can say from my own experience, they usually come back into the account they came from. But you can always reach out to the bursar's office. They are extremely, now you should know this too. This is pretty cool. So what the heck is a bursar? They're just the people who handle all of your money for students. But you will hear from, if you have friends who are at school at other colleges, that the bursar's office is very unfriendly and they don't help anyone ever and they're horrible. Our bursar's office is the most student friendly. And I told you, I went to 3 undergraduate schools and 1 graduate school, and I work here. And they are the friendliest to students I have ever seen in my entire life. They are helpful. They want to help you. So do feel free to reach out to them and ask them if you have a question. Oh, Giselle, I'm glad that you think so too. Thank you. They're really great. So go ahead and reach out to them. You can also reach out to financial aid. Financial aid does tend to be friendlier in general in other institutions. They are also extremely good and helpful and knowledgeable here as well. And then Derek, I want to get to your question of how imposter syndrome manifests. That was the question, right?
Yes.
Yes. What does it look like? So, okay, it looks so different all of the time. It's so much all the time, always, that you can almost be positive that anytime you think something bad about yourself, that it's probably that. Like I would say that it's not an exaggeration to say this. If you think, oh, I can't do well on this math problem, or oh, I don't know if I'm going to graduate summa cum laude, or oh, I don't know if people will be so. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm a New Yorker, and my first college was in California. So I spoke differently from all of my peers. I had done some accent work in high school because I went to a private high school on scholarship in New York City, and I was made fun of for the way that I said my A's. I would say ball and call. I can almost not imitate it now. And the people I went to school with didn't talk like that. So I did a little bit of that, but still I sounded like a New Yorker when I went to California, and I'd feel constant shame about who I was and what I sounded like and whether people would know, questioning my presence in any room. This doesn't ever completely go away, but I can say with some confidence that it can also be an asset for you because you can look around a room, and when you're feeling those feelings of doubt and so on, you can know with some level of certainty that at least 40% of the other people in the room are having that same feeling. It's not quite like maybe somebody at some point told you to imagine people in their underwear, which I've never found helpful. It's not quite like that, but it does help you see, oh, wait, maybe she seems snooty in her answer because she's feeling like I'm feeling, which is that she has to justify her presence here in this room. So how can I amplify her comment and help her feel like she belongs and then make myself feel like I belong, right? So you become then the steward of belongingness in that space. So there's ways that you can use imposter syndrome as an asset as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So there's a question here in the chat. What would you recommend to students who are unsure about whether they're satisfied with their major? I do have an answer to this one. So in our office, the Office of Undergraduate Education, we have something called exploratory advising. Right now, that is a single advisor. Reach out to him, and I'll make sure that Derek gets the email address to you. Reach out to him and he can help you answer some of those questions. So Eric has many, many years. I think he's been here 21 years this year. if I'm counting correctly. And he's fabulous. He has lots of advice for students who are thinking about, maybe I need to change my major. I will say from personal experience, I changed my major a lot of times. It was the way that I did my education, though. You tended to do your core curriculum first, and then you did, your major. So I had a little more flexibility. But don't worry, we want you in the right major, because you want to pick the place where you're going to thrive, right? Because you are here and you're ready to thrive and you're super smart. So don't be miserable.
Yes. So Giselle asked, does it also apply to individuals who feel like they know less than everyone else in the room? Yes, that's exactly what it
Yes.
is. And I
Yes.
have the perfect example that I love to use with students. I use my own as an example. I'm in Introduction to Psychology in the spring of 2012. Professor says something that kind of goes right over my head. It's something related to neuroscience. But the problem is, I'm looking around and I see this all over the. Yeah, that makes sense to me. And so I'm like, And so when they ask you, do you have any questions? If you're looking around and seeing everyone else that's kind of like getting it, then boy, you're less inclined to ask a question now, because uh, you feel like, oh, I'm going to seem less than. Um, so that's how it feels in that sense. So that was definitely me. But honestly, like Dean Murphy said, the chances of the person that was doing this not understanding is at least 40%. Okay, so if you have a question, do ask. And if you don't feel comfortable asking in front of 100 other people like me, then you can go to office hours or send them an email. But yes, that's exactly what it looks like. Dean Murphy, we don't want to take up too much more of your time. We know that you have superhero Dean things to do. um, but thank you so much for joining us. Folks, if you have any questions that you did not get a chance to ask, please send them and we will get those answered for you. But thank you so much, Team Murphy. We appreciate this.
Of course, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to kind of meet you all. And please do reach out. Our main email address is ugdean@utdallas.edu. And I'm Jessica Murphy. Please just ask questions if you have them. It's great to meet you. Welcome to UT Dallas. I know it's a strange way to start college, but you're going to do really well. So thank you.
Greetings. I am Shaniqua Johnson, Academic Project Manager for the Graduation Help Desk. This campus resource is overseen by Dr. Courtney Burkeen, and we are housed in the Office of Undergraduate Education. The Graduation Help Desk is the result of a state and UT system-wide initiative to ensure that students remain in school and finish their degrees in a timely fashion. The Graduation Help Desk at UT Dallas launched in fall 2017 as a campus resource that offered centralized support to students, faculty, and staff. Essentially, the Graduation Help Desk is a one-stop shop for students experiencing academic or non-academic barriers to their persistence. Although our name might suggest otherwise, we do not only support graduating seniors. We warmly welcome and have assisted all undergraduate students, from freshman to senior. Our process consists of the following steps. First, a faculty or staff member reaches out to us to refer a student, or a student contacts us directly for an issue they're experiencing. Next, we might ask questions, and we conduct investigation in the student records, and we consult with various campus offices to determine a proper solution or course of action. Once a solution or an action plan has been determined, we contact the student and appropriate parties to communicate details. Additionally, we follow up and provide updates as necessary. For instance, A student recently reached out to us because she had an outstanding balance whereby if she did not pay, her classes were in jeopardy of being canceled for the semester. We then reached out to our campus partners in the bursar office to explore solutions. The graduation help desk worked as a liaison, facilitating communication and helped work out a plan so that the student could remain enrolled in her courses. In the end, the student was placed on a more flexible payment plan that is allowing her to pay her balance and continue working towards her degree. Now, please note, this is just one example of how we assist students, and each situation is unique. Other tickets that we have received recently consist of students reaching out to understand course modalities, resolve waitlist issues, review their financial aid options, discuss housing, as well as receive guidance on submitting academic appeals and petitions. Essentially, if you need help getting connected to a campus resource, please email us. We have established great working relationships with departments all over campus and are glad to get you in touch with the appropriate staff or resource. If you're having challenges in a class and you need assistance weighing your options about how to succeed, or you're considering withdrawing and you just need someone to talk through your options with, you are welcome to email us and we can discuss different scenarios and guide you. If you have a question and you're not sure of which office to contact, you can always contact us. We are glad to answer any questions you may have. Please make note of our email address and save us in your contact list. We can be reached at graduationhelpdesk@utdallas.edu.
Awesome. And then we have one more person we're going to hear from, and that is the first generation peer advisor, Valeria.
Hi everyone, my name is Valeria Salinas Lopez, and I am the peer advisor for the first generation living learning community. I just recently graduated from UTD with my bachelor's in sociology, and I'm now pursuing my master's in social data analytics and research. One tip that I wish I had as an incoming freshman would be that it's okay to ask and to reach out to professors as well as to professional faculty and staff. I know as an incoming first generation freshman myself, I know it could be very scary and it can be intimidating to go up to your professors and to professional staff. But once that barrier is broken down, you'll be open to so many more resources and opportunities, as well as feeling more connected to UTD. There are so many people that are willing and open and ready to help you, just like myself. So don't forget to reach out.
So just so you guys all know, we do have some upcoming LLC events. You are all part of the LLC e-learning organization. You can access that in e-learning. I believe it's the 2021 e-learning organization, Living Learning Communities. But you have access to various features in there, so discussion boards, opportunities to interact with other students. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Sarah, do you want to talk about the Certificate of Diversity and Inclusion?
Sure. So as some of you may already know about, the Living Learning Communities has an initiative where we try and get our students involved with a lot of our other campus partners. So I'm going to drop the link to our website, which has a lot more information about the CDI in the chat. If you're interested, but basically how it works is you will attend 3 virtual engagements. So that could be an event or a discussion board or a writing submission, and then you'll submit a couple of forms and you'll qualify for the CDI. So it's really just to give you more of an understanding of kind of what's going on at UTD and about our diverse school. And we have our CDI kickoff coming up on September 16th at 3:30. That's going to be about a 45-minute interactive event. We're really excited for it, so I hope to see you there. Information is going to come out about that next week, and feel free to reach out to us at the Living Learning email with any questions.
Thanks, Sarah. So another thing that's on here is Comet World. This is our LLC version of Dungeons and Dragons. So if you are into tabletop games, Dungeons and Dragons, be sure to check this out. It's a lot of fun. We have student employees who have created this virtual universe set at an alternative UTD. You encounter various bosses that are UTD themed, as well as other characters. Bosses in the past have included Enarch and Timok. So definitely check it out. We have information on the sessions in e-learning. The sessions are held via Microsoft Teams. If you've never played before, you're still welcome to attend. They have created this game so it is welcoming to both new D&D players as well as veteran D&D players. And then finally, we have Gen Chem 1 study sessions with Dr. Taylor. The first session will be September 8th at 4 p.m. and the second, before the first Gen Chem exam, and the second session will be September 20th at 4 p.m. before the second Gen Chem exam. So we are going to be putting the information out there today for signing up for the study sessions. When you sign up, if you are in General Chemistry 1, you can sign up for these these study sessions, and you'll be able to put on your sign-up form any questions or topics you might want Dr. Taylor to cover during the session. But those are going to run about 2 hours in length, and they'll be offered via Microsoft Teams as well. They'll be using a Teams Live feature. So that is all we have there, but do you all have any questions? Any final questions or comments? Derek.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us today. Again, this is one of my favorite events of the semester. Just a couple of reminders. If you haven't already, oh, wait, hold on. We have a question from Connor.
I'll reach out to you via email, Connor.
The First Generation Comet's YouTube channel is your home for information and video content for first generation students and their families. You'll find information on our jargon dictionary, interviews with first generation alumni and staff, and much, much more. Please consider subscribing to First Generation Comets on YouTube and click the notification bell so you will be notified every time we premiere, upload, and go live. Welcome to UT Dallas. Welcome to the Comet family. Whoosh.